legend that has circulated through the darker corners of the internet, preying on the curious and the desperate. The tale goes like this. If you dial the emergency number 989, the UK's emergency service number, then abruptly hang up before speaking to anyone, your phone's battery will mysteriously begin to charge itself, even if it's dead. At first, it sounds harmless, maybe even a little absurd, but for those desperate in their time of need, stuck in the middle of nowhere with no power, no signal, and no hope, the temptation is irresistible. They say the process doesn't just work, it works too well. Phones that were drained to nothing spring to life with a terrifying energy, buzzing with life as if some dark force is feeding it from beyond. But the myth is more sinister than it seems. What happens when you dial that number waiting for the unknown to respond, and something answers? Who or what is really charging your phone in the dead of night? The legend warns, be careful what you call, for some connections are more than just a lifeline. They're a doorway to something far darker. The 27 Club is a chilling urban legend that has gripped the imaginations of music fans and mystics alike. A macabre pattern woven into the lives of some of the world's brightest stars. It is said that a disturbing number of celebrated musicians and artists, those who reach the peak of their creative power, meet their end at the age of 7, as if some dark force claims them before they can fully realize their potential. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, and Jean-Michel Basquiat, each of them brilliant and tragic in their own right, died at this cursed age, their lives snuffed out in ways as mysterious as they were haunting. Some say it's a cruel twist of fate. Others whisper that a sinister force, something beyond mere coincidence, pulls these gifted souls into the abyss. Despite studies deep is not just a myth, it's a grim reminder that some things are too powerful to be explained, an eerie mark, a final note that echoes through history, far too chilling to ignore. On the evening of September 20th, 1965, the quiet town of Felixstowe, England, became the site of a terrifying encounter with something otherworldly. It was a crisp night when residents witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon that defied explanation. Something that would forever haunt the town's history. The air grew thick, and a strange, unnatural glow lit up the sky. What they saw that night was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. A fire demon, an immense fiery entity, descended from the dark sky. Its flames blazed with an intensity so fierce they cast a hellish red hue across the landscape, turning the streets into a fiery labyrinth. The creature moved with eerie fluidity, its form shifting and writhing as it hovered above the ground. Witnesses described it as a massive, burning figure, its eyes glowing with an infernal light, its presence suffocating and oppressive. Panic spread through the town as the demon floated above, casting a shadow over Felixstowe that seemed to drain all warmth from the air. The heat from its flames was unbearable, yet it did not scorch the earth beneath it. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the fire demon vanished, leaving the townspeople paralyzed with fear and confusion. To this day, no explanation has been found for the sighting. Some say it was a visit from beings beyond the stars. Others claim it was something much darker. But those who saw it never forgot the horror of that night. The night Felixstowe was touched by the flames of something far more terrifying than fire then.
dense, eerie woods of Robertson County, Tennessee, the haunting legend of the Bell Witch continues to send chills down the spines of locals. The story began in 1817, when farmer John Bell Sr. and his family became targets of an unseen, malevolent force that seemed born of pure malice. They called it the Witch, and soon the whole town would tremble at her name. The haunting began with strange knocks and scratches echoing through the walls of the Bell home, sounds that grew louder, angrier with each passing night. Shadows twisted on the walls as if mocking the family, and disembodied whispers called out their names, echoing in the pitch-black darkness. But this was no mere ghostly nuisance. The Bell Witch possessed a terrifying intelligence. She could speak, cackling threats in a chilling voice, promising that her revenge was only beginning. The witch delighted in tormenting the Bell children, pulling their hair, pinching them, even slapping them with invisible hands. The air around the farm became thick and oppressive, as though her very presence suffocated life itself. She claimed she had a personal vendetta against John Bell and vowed to destroy him, leaving him sleepless and frail, his mind haunted by her endless taunts. Neighbours and townsfolk witnessed the witch's powers firsthand. Objects moved on their own, and her voice filled the air, sometimes screaming, sometimes laughing with a twisted joy. She could appear in any form she wished, a shapeshifter of pure darkness. In 1821, John Bell was found dead, his face twisted in horror, and a vial of strange, black liquid beside him. The witch claimed victory, declaring that she had poisoned him. Her laughter echoed through the empty halls of the Bell home, a final warning to any who might doubt her power. To this day, the spirit of the Bell Witch is said to haunt the land, her wrathful spirit lingering, waiting in silence for her next victim. In the small, quiet town of Quitman, Arkansas, an unsettling tale haunts the streets. The legend of Jarrell Bettis, more chillingly known as the Dog Boy. Locals whisper that Jarrell was no ordinary child. With an eerie fascination for cruelty, he terrorized the town, his twisted grin and deadened eyes enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. It's said that as a boy, he would capture stray dogs and cats, dragging them into his family's decrepit house, where unsettling cries and strange noises echoed through the night. As he grew older, his dark nature only deepened. Jarrell's obsession with pain extended to his own parents. Neighbours claimed they saw him towering over his elderly mother, his hands clenched, his eyes wild with some unspeakable rage. His father, a once strong man, was seen bruised and frail, unable to escape the torment inflicted by his own son. Shadows would flicker at the windows, figures moving in unnatural ways, and rumours spread that Jarrell was more than a man, something twisted, something monstrous. One night, the house fell silent. No screams, no shadowy figures, only an oppressive stillness. Some say Jarrell vanished, Others claim he still lingers in Quitman, watching from the dark, his cold gaze fixed on anyone who dares to remember. And when the moon is high, they say you can feel his presence, a chilling shadow creeping closer, a memory of pure, unhinged malice lurking in the quiet streets of Quitman, waiting, forever haunted by the dog boy. In the dense, mist-laden forests of North America, an unsettling figure roams, Bigfoot, or as the natives call him, Sasquatch. Towering at nearly 8 feet tall, this monstrous ape-like creature lurks in the shadows, a spectre of nature's wildest secrets. For centuries, stories of his terrifying encounters have spread, each tale more harrowing than the last. Hunters, campers, and wanderers alike speak of colossal footprints embedded in the earth, prints so massive no human could leave them. The chilling evidence, cast in mud and shadow, hints at something far beyond human. But Bigfoot isn't just a rumour in these parts. On cold, silent nights, the forest transforms. The usual hum of wildlife fades, replaced by an eerie silence, as though the trees themselves are holding their breath. Then, through the darkness, comes a low, guttural howl, a sound so deep and raw it seems to pierce through the soul, the unmistakable call of Sasquatch. His presence is felt before he's ever seen, a heavy, brooding shadow in the night, stalking, watching, waiting. Those unlucky enough to catch a glimpse report a creature cloaked in thick, matted fur, eyes glinting with a primal intelligence, yet filled with an unsettling, almost human understanding. His hulking frame moves with unnerving agility, slipping between trees like a ghost, his piercing gaze locking with his prey before vanishing into the underbrush. As he disappears, a foul, musky odour lingers, a reminder that Bigfoot was there, a silent warning for anyone daring enough to tread deeper. Some say he's a guardian of the wilderness, others a harbinger of doom, but all agree Bigfoot is no myth, and in the dark heart of the forest he waits, forever watching, his silent footfalls a deadly promise to those who venture too close to the wild. In the shadowed expanse of Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland, a cold, dark statue loomed, a spectral figure known as Black Aggie. This life-sized, cloaked woman, with her face veiled in shadow, sat atop the grave of General Felix Agnes, her granite form exuding a chilling, otherworldly aura. shoulders, holding them in place. One night, a young man dared to spend the night under Aggie's watchful stare. At dawn, he was found frozen in terror, his face twisted in a silent scream. Rumours claimed that Aggie had drawn the life from him, leaving him nothing but a hollow shell. Today, Black Aggie is gone, removed from Druid Ridge Cemetery, but those who remember her say that if you wander near her former resting place on a moonless night, you might still feel her icy stare, hear the whisper of her stone skirts brushing against the earth, a reminder that her spirit lingers, waiting for the next soul to test her curse. In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldvert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. In the shadowed woods near Leicestershire, a creature of nightmare prowls, Black Annis, the dreaded blue-faced hag. Cloaked in darkness, her gnarled face is stained a haunting shade of blue, her iron claws gleaming with a terrifying sharpness, honed from years of hunting in the dead of night. Children and townsfolk alike know the tales of her hunger, a twisted craving for human flesh that sends shivers through the village. Black Annie's hides in a cave carved from the rocks by her own jagged claws, a lair littered with the remains of her grisly feasts. Animal bones, and some say human bones, line the ground, while the chilling stench of decay fills the air. As dusk falls, she slinks from her den, her clawed hands scratching along tree trunks, leaving deep gouges in the bark. Her piercing eyes, dark and unforgiving, scan the surroundings, searching, waiting. She has a particular taste for children, her long, spindly fingers reaching out to snatch any who wander too close to the edge of the woods. Many parents tell their children tales of Black Annie's, warning them not to stray after dark, lest they become her next victim. They say she hides beneath beds or crouches outside windows, her twisted grin visible just beyond the glass, savouring the fear of those trapped inside. Sometimes villagers claim to hear her unearthly wails in the wind, a bone-chilling howl that pierces the night. They say it's her call, a twisted lullaby that drags the unwary toward her grasp. On moonless nights, her figure can be seen creeping through the shadows, her blue face glowing faintly, iron claws poised to strike. Today, the legend of Black Annie's still haunts the children of Leicestershire, a ghastly spectre lurking at the edge of nightmares, waiting to snatch anyone who dares defy the tales of her insatiable hunger. In the dense, silent depths of Bradley Woods near Lincolnshire, a dark figure roams, the Black Lady of Bradley Woods, a spectre draped in endless mourning. She appears at twilight, her form shrouded in a flowing black gown that seems to absorb the very light around her. Her face is pale and sorrowful, framed by a long, dark veil that hides her eyes, but reveals a silent, haunting grief etched across her ghostly features. Legend says she was once a young woman, a mother whose husband went off to war, leaving her and their infant alone. But one terrible night, soldiers stormed the village, stealing her child and leaving her desolate. Consumed by a profound, unyielding sorrow, she wandered into the woods, where her wails of despair echoed through the trees. Now, her restless spirit haunts the forest, forever searching for the child stolen from her, an eternity bound to her endless mourning. Those who have seen the Black Lady say she moves without sound, gliding over the forest floor, her black dress trailing like smoke. Her presence brings a chilling, bone-deep cold, and her mournful cries pierce the night, carrying a sadness so intense it leaves an ache in the hearts of all who hear it. Villagers warn against approaching her, for those who venture too close feel an icy hand grip their shoulder, a desperate, lingering hold, as though she's begging for help. Some believe that if you call out to her, she will turn to you, lifting her veil to reveal hollow, grief-stricken eyes that seem to draw you into her despair. Those who meet her gaze are said to be marked by sorrow, plagued by visions of loss and shadowed by misfortune. To this day, locals avoid Bradley Woods at dusk, lest they encounter the Black Lady and her relentless sorrow, a tragic figure bound forever to her haunting search for the child she lost. shadowed streets of Eastern Europe, a terrifying tale circulates. The legend of the Black Volga. This sinister pitch-black limousine appears without warning, prowling through dim alleys and silent neighbourhoods, its polished exterior gleaming like dark glass, an ominous spectre of steel and shadow. Locals say it's no ordinary car. It's a harbinger of fear, a vehicle of doom, and those who glimpse its darkened windows sense an undeniable malice lurking within. Rumour has it that the Black Volga comes at night, its engine running in eerie silence, gliding across cobbled streets as though carried by the darkness itself. Its red headlights pierce the night like two burning eyes, casting an unnatural glow that seems to freeze anyone it catches in its glare. They say the car hunts for children, targeting the vulnerable and unwary. If you lock eyes with its empty, cold windows, you may vanish without a trace, spirited away into its shadowy depths. Witnesses claim that if you're lucky enough to escape its haunting approach, you'll hear only the faint hum of its engine and catch a fleeting glimpse of its occupants. Figures cloaked in black, faces hidden, eyes glinting like steel. Some whisper that these shadowy drivers are agents of something darker, perhaps the underworld itself, while others believe they are government operatives or supernatural entities with an insatiable hunger for souls. For decades, towns across Eastern Europe have warned their children, avoid the Black Volga at all costs. Stories of vanished friends, mysterious sightings, and close encounters fuel the legend, and parents pull their children close when darkness falls. To this day, some swear they've seen the Black Volga creeping through lonely streets under the veil of night, and if you ever spot its headlights glowing red in the distance, remember, there is no escape from the reach of the Black Volga. In the dark hours of night, when the world falls silent, a chilling urban legend creeps into the minds of those who've heard it. The tale of the black-eyed children. These sinister figures, resembling children aged between 6 and 16, have been reported on doorsteps, in parking lots, along deserted roadsides, and even knocking on car windows. Their pale skin and soulless black eyes, unmistakable and unforgettable. They appear vulnerable, lost, perhaps even in need of help, but there's something undeniably wrong about them. The stories are always the same. A lone person is going about the night when there's an unexpected knock. Upon opening the door, they find two children standing in the shadows, heads tilted down, hands clasped tightly. They speak softly, their voices eerily calm, asking to come inside, pleading to be let in. Please, we're lost, they whisper. We need to use your phone. Let us in. An inexplicable dread seeps into the air, an instinctive warning not to trust these children. Their presence feels wrong, alien. The unfortunate souls who've encountered them describe a rising terror, a sensation so primal it makes the hair on the back of their necks stand. These children will persistently ask to be let in, growing more insistent with each refusal, their voices slipping from gentle to unnervingly true horror, however, lies in their eyes, pitch black orbs, empty of any warmth, life, or humanity. Once the blackness of their gaze is noticed, the fear becomes inescapable. Witnesses describe an overwhelming urge to shut the door, to flee, as if staring into those eyes could drain one's very soul. Some unlucky individuals have reported letting the children inside, only to be overcome by feelings of despair and dread. Their homes feel darker, colder, and they report experiencing nightmares and a constant feeling of being watched. Those who survive such encounters claim their lives are never the same, haunted by sickness, misfortune, and a sense of something unseen lurking just beyond their vision. Legend has it that the black-eyed children are not children at all, but creatures of something older and darker, a malevolent force cloaked in the innocence of youth. They cannot enter unless invited, yet they possess a strange hypnotic pull, as if they can bend their victims' wills to their own. Those who encounter the black-eyed children speak of them in hushed voices, sharing only vague details, fearful of summoning them back by remembering too clearly. And for those who live alone, beware of unexpected knocks on your door late at night. Because if you ever hear a soft, insistent voice asking to be let in, resist the urge to open the door. Turn off the lights, stay quiet, and pray they leave before you catch a glimpse of their hollow, black eyes staring through the darkness, waiting. In darkened rooms, with only the flicker of a candle's light, the chilling legend of Bloody Mary comes to life. This haunting spirit, shrouded in mystery and dread, is said to appear in mirrors, summoned by those brave or foolish enough to speak her name. The ritual is simple, yet terrifying. Stand before a mirror, stare into your own reflection, and chant, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." Legend warns that calling her name unlocks a portal, a thin veil between our world and hers. As you chant, the room grows colder, the air thickening as if her presence fills every corner, lurking just beyond your vision. Those who have dared to call her say that shadows begin to twist, the flickering candlelight dimming as though something unnatural is drawing it in. And then, through the glass, she appears. A gaunt, hollow-eyed figure with a blood-streaked face, staring back with an expression twisted by agony, rage, or a cruel, mocking smile. Witnesses describe her as a vision of torment. Her long, tangled hair, framing a face pale as bone, her Many believe that once you call upon her, she lingers, an invisible presence following you, waiting in the shadows. And so when night falls and the mirror reflects only darkness, think twice before speaking her name, for Bloody Mary is always listening, waiting for her next victim